That was so slutty of you.
Can I try again?
Yeah, try again.
The second one, I always just get so nervous in the second one.
Your palms are sweaty, I can tell.
So yeah, I'm nervous
You're a little sweaty.
because I'm nervous to talk about this movie.
You're nervous to talk about your new favorite movie.
My favorite movie star.
Well, that's actually a great place to start. Hey,
Let me
guys.
just say this.
This is
Let me
Steven's favorite
just
movie
say
star.
this. I hate bragging, but I feel like I'm always ahead of the curve. And only on select topics. But one of those is
Very few topics.
Very few topics because I only have about 6 interests. But one of those interests is Gwyneth Paltrow. And I feel like you can attest to this. I've been championing her before it was cool. And now it's all of a sudden very cool now that she's had a victory in court.
Yeah. Yes, she's
Back me
very in
up.
the
Back me
zeitgeist
up.
right now. Guys, 100% true. Steven has been an early adopter of Gwyneth. I never
you.
got it. Admittedly,
No one did.
I didn't get it. In college, you
Even in college, I was packing
were so
Gwyneth.
obsessed with her. I wouldn't get it. I didn't even understand the depth of your passion for her. And then I'd come to your apartment and you have her Oscar
a framed photo of her with the Oscar.
crying on the stage.
Yeah.
And folks at home, it's not a good print. It's like a HP
No, it was
LaserJet.
blurry. It was blurry. But it was the best I could do. It was the best I could do at the time.
At the time, we were very, very broke, and Steven had a framed photo of Gwyneth winning her Oscar.
Yeah.
At one point, did you have it in the bathroom? Am I crazy? Or
No, I
it
did.
wasn't?
It was framed. It was hung up in the bathroom.
Yeah. So Steven's an early adopter of Gwenny. Embarrassing for me. You kind of had to show me the ropes. You would
Yeah.
introduce me. I was like, I don't get it.
I've led
Shakespeare
many
in
of
Love?
people through their Gwenaissance, and I'm happy.
Renaissance.
I'm happy now. There's been a mass indoctrination with this trial, so now it's cool to be a fan of Gwyneth.
Okay, if you say so.
I think it is. I think the public's come around. I think they're into it, and I think conveniently the name of this movie could also be the name of her made-for-TV movie about the trial.
View from the top. View from the top. In
Above
parentheses,
ski
the
slopes.
stand. I couldn't watch this trial. I
Wow.
find it embarrassingly cringy. The
It was so
question.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think especially that they had to drag a female attorney out to only question her. I'm like, what year is it that we are still
2003,
doing
View from the top.
View from the top? Yeah, it was she was dressed like she was from View from the Top, and that's not a diss; it's just a reference.
It's
but
just
it's
a reference.
it's just a reference.
Gwyneth was dressed
Beautifully.
very opposite. She did a masculine Jeffrey Dahmer glasses look.
Yeah, even Nancy Grace said that, but it was
Yeah, the Jeffrey Dahmer glasses, that's not original. I've read
No.
that
Yeah,
countless times. This trial was so cringy. You would send me clips, and I have to admit, I could barely even watch them. The questions
Yeah.
that she was being asked were insane. It was so embarrassing
Yeah.
for both parties involved. And just the fact that they're even on trial, and then her symbolic $1, which I understand, I get. She's not here to ruin a man's life. He's here to ruin
Yeah.
hers.
right.
And in honor of WHM, I'm very happy she's
But she
pulled
did.
through.
I mean, his life is ruined. The amount of legal bills he's gonna have to pay is astronomical.
I know.
Oh well.
Poor man. But I still don't really know what happened that day on the ski slopes. There's no justice.
Yeah, I would like to go do my own site inspection. I would like to feel my way down that slope. Just see how things are.
I'd like to get someone the same
On
frame and
Bandana Run.
stature of Gwyneth, the same frame and stature as that man. Let's do some
I think we're kind of it. You're his height and I'm her height. And I'm
I
gonna
have
ski
his
a little.
mass.
I'm gonna ski a little ahead of you, and I want you to just ski right behind me. And then I'm gonna turn around and yell at you and say, "You skied into my effing back."
I don't think she's capable of doing too much damage, honestly, but
No.
she's so tiny. But I mean, I get it. Your downward ski. You know what? We have to be really careful here because we've already tempted big tech,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want Goop coming for us.
No. I mean, they'd only come for you. They wouldn't come for me. So this
know.
would be squarely on your shoulders.
Because I'm sure you have a Goop coffee table book sitting right in front of you right now.
I have all the cookbooks, so
All the bone broth.
all the bone broth. But
Oh, Gwenny.
Yeah, I can't believe it's our first Gwyneth Paltrow movie, and
It makes sense. I want to say it makes sense. Not that she's her level of project, the caliber is actually pretty high that she's been in. This is one of the only like early 2000s fluffy movies I could think of, and Shallow Hal, by the way.
Shallow Hal. But I think even compared to Shallow Hal, like this is a Gwyneth movie. Like, I mean, it was clearly built around her. I think. I mean, they've definitely plugged in a lot of other stars, but
upon when we first started, I would have said yeah. After finishing that movie, I think this was a failed Mike Myers vehicle.
He definitely took it over, and I don't even know if he was cast on the movie. It just seemed like he was there.
They're like, oh, let's use him today.
They didn't know what to do with him. They didn't know what to do.
I just felt like 2003, this is like right off of his peak Goldmember run, I think. And I think
or
Mike Myers
Austin Powers adjacent.
This movie is very Austin Powers adjacent. Oh my God. And I just feel like you're right. He was there, and they were, I couldn't remember anyone funnier in the year 2003. I thought Goldmember was the funniest movie I've ever seen, with my favorite actress, Beyonce. I thought she was an actress. Foxy Cleopatra.
She is an actress.
But
actress first
and foremost. Just like J-Lo to me is a singer.
Yeah.
I never knew she had a movie career. Made in Manhattan was my first, also I think 2002, 2003.
Yeah, but it feels good to be back in the 2002, 2003.
Oh, it's where I'm comfortable, baby.
It's where I'm the most comfortable, and it really fit. It just like feels so right. This movie is 2003.
It is. I agree with you. This movie felt like a warm hug. I think I often say it when we visit these years.
It's just a warm hug, but it's a quick hug. It's a quick hug.
Fast. 80 minutes. With credits.
Yeah, it does say when you start the movie, it will say 87 minutes, and you'll think to yourself, wow, that's really close to 90 minutes. But it's actually 80 minutes because 7 minutes are credits.
Yes.
Where they just play bloopers. But then there is actually a really good song and dance at the end, which I really enjoyed.
Very fun. I miss blooper reels even in credits.
Yeah.
So much fun.
The We Are Family remix to We Are Royal.
Family.
It's We Are Royalty.
Royalty. Yeah.
That was cute.
Really cute. A lot of covers in this soundtrack. In the first 10 minutes of this movie. It was
weird.
It was beyond weird. I do think it's super.
That was not the original "Don't Stop Believin'," was it? It sounded a little off. Well, all the music sounded. It's like they got the music for discount by getting it all slightly covered.
I think that first of all, there's very early 2000s of them. First 10 minutes, there's 10 chart toppers, but they're all covers.
It was so strange because it starts with. Does it start with "Don't Stop Believin'"?
Room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smell of wine and cheap perfume. And like it's the version where like all the vowels are pretty distorted.
But every note is a little off. And then you realize it's not Journey. It's somebody else.
Oh, no.
It's somebody else.
It's somehow a really obscure cover and also something that I remember from like a fever dream. Because I do remember that version being used a ton. And We Are
they
Family.
Definitely got it on sale.
Celebrate. Didn't they have Celebrate Good Times? I should have written more down.
Yeah. It was like an 8th grade graduation music. Like
yes.
all that kind of music was played.
Yeah. Stevens Jams, 2003. Yeah. You're going into middle school.
And then you pass out the CD to everyone on the way out and be like, oh, you liked what you heard? Here.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky you, because I burned 30 CDs and they all have.
Took me one whole Saturday.
Yeah, I needed to use all the RAM on my computer to get this burned. But enjoy.
I used to make so like many that. CDs.
Yeah, same. And it was like, it was strange because it was like you knew all the songs and they sounded so close to the real song.
So close.
And it's almost like, wow, if we would have just picked one top 10 and just paid for it, then we could have heard it in full. But no, we instead bought 10 covers and used those.
Smart.
So different approach.
Smart.
Yeah, I think it added to it.
I'm a saver. I couldn't believe the amount of like top hits in the first, like I said, every other minute a dramatic moment in the movie needed to be supported by some sort of song. And I'm just like, this is a forgotten era in cinema. We don't do it anymore. There would be more score or nothing.
Your toe is tapping the whole movie. You can't help it. You can't help it.
I was jamming out. I freaking loved it. Oh man, I wrote 10 minutes in and there's 10 pop hits of 2003.
But I will say that they definitely don't stop believing. Well, in particular, just one line really informs the movie, which is you're just
a small town girl.
Girl. Emphasis on just and emphasis on girl.
And small town, honestly.
And small town.
'Cause it is a small town.
And your. So.
And a sometimes. Just a small town girl.
Yeah. So you're just a small town girl.
That sums up the whole movie.
And honestly, what the film arrives at is that she is just a small town girl.
She is. She really is. Like, she tries to get out of it and she can't.
Yeah. So in many ways, I think the movie is kind of ahead of its time. It's really about the dangers of aspirational living and international.
Women with dreams. Be careful.
Yeah, maybe just get the poster of the Eiffel Tower. You don't actually need to go there.
Yeah, practice bonjour, but don't go.
I mean, that's what the movie is suggesting.
Don't dream too big.
Don't dream too big.
It'll ruin your life.
It'll ruin your life, and you'll have no relationships.
Yeah, none to speak of.
It truly is girl bossing too close to the sun. Everyone who reaches the pinnacle of being a flight attendant crashes and burns.
Yeah, totally.
They have to step away.
I think we did it. I think that sums it up. And to close out Women's History Month in this way, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
To close it out, we're bringing back the word stewardess, which is what this movie does.
And that is my entire campaign on this podcast.
Well, okay, and this is what I was thinking, was that they do use the word stewardess a lot, and they're definitely showing that, air travel is back. Air travel is sexy. Air travel is fun. And we have to remember that this is 2003, probably filmed in 2002. We're back in that post 9/11 world. Like, we're trying to get butts in seats on planes again. And if you think you could get up there and you could have a hot stewardess serving you warm nuts
with a foxy Cleopatra synthetic outfit, bouffant hair, big hoops, and carpeting.
This is good. This is good for the industry. Carpeted walls. Yeah. I mean, I want to get into the movie because I want to ask what you thought they were doing with the production design on these planes. Because, it was like the 70s, right? Yeah, it was very much like we're going back to the golden age of flying.
Yeah, stewardess. That's why stewardess made sense.
Yeah.
I was like,
exactly.
That's where we are.
And let's put the male gay flight attendant. He only works the express route. Like, he definitely is not going to work the Paris route.
No.
Only the women.
Yeah, he's not a part of this. He's not in the club. Oh, wow. This movie starts in a way that we love for our star vehicles. We love it. One key childhood memory.
Yeah.
Played in home movie.
Yeah.
Over and the backing track, Don't Stop Believin', just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
Yeah.
And she wants to get as far away from Silver Springs as possible.
She does. And
she
the
tries.
way the narration is building, you think she's going to do it. But then she didn't.
She didn't get that far. But it's okay because she found love. Spoiler.
Right. So she's talking about how she's been stuck with her mom in Silver Springs. Nothing is moving, but she has dreams of seeing the world. And who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't have dreams of seeing the world? And the way that she really starts to feel this way is she starts her career at Big Lots, which I loved.
I love Big Lots. I've been meaning to go for weeks.
Working exclusively in the luggage department.
He pulled some strings. I died at this line. My boyfriend at the time pulled some strings to get me a position in the luggage department.
It was really funny, actually. I will say that this movie was legitimately a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think it's super funny, but it's disguised, like we said this before air. It's like that bimbo chic, like slut core that was like very early 2000s, and I think it was meant to shame women in the early 2000s. And now in 2023, I'm like, who's getting the last laugh? It's just funny, and Gwyneth is like a genius businesswoman, has an Academy Award. Like, she's fine.
She has an Academy Award at this point.
Yeah, we can laugh at this.
Like they allow multiple female characters in this movie to remind the audience, oh, I didn't graduate from high school.
Yeah.
I dropped out.
Oh, I quit. Can you do my back, Mark Ruffalo?
So it's like, it's definitely playing on this bimbo mentality, but in some ways because there's really no conflict, it doesn't work in the way that I think they might have thought it was going to fit into that. I think it's resisting it.
Yeah. I mean, there is the Christina Applegate rivalry with her in flight attendant school, but you're right. It's like the conflict is never that cut and dry because Gwyneth is just like heads and tails better than everybody.
Gwyneth is the best flight attendant, and
yes.
And what's fun about it is that there's no one even close. Like you were saying it's like, oh, it's like Top Gun school for flight attendant tricks.
Yeah.
But there's no one hot on her heels. Like
no.
she's just the best.
There's no like Iceman to her Maverick. It's just her.
And it's like, it's not even in her blood. Like her mom wasn't a flight attendant. She's a legacy. She's just a savant. But okay, so in the beginning, we're not even thinking flight attendant because she's working
still
at Big Lots.
Yeah.
And we find out that even though she works in luggage, she's never been on a plane. So she's never even used luggage before.
No need.
But she wants to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then she's kind of like growing up, and we're getting that montage of her coming of age, and she catches on TV one of our favorite movie villains ever, Candice Bergen.
Yeah, she sees Candice Bergen on the TV, and we find out that Candy Bergen is, and this is the language of the movie, she's the most famous flight attendant in the world.
Yes. Uh-huh. And I believe it. She looks like one.
She looks like one, and conveniently Gwyneth catches this ad after she's been dumped by her boyfriend, who has gotten a promotion at Big Lots, and he's not going to take her to the Tucson store. He's going to take Becky from Barbecues. Yeah,
somebody else. Poor girl. Yeah. So I think we talked about this a little bit. As soon as I saw Candice Bergen, I thought she's going to be evil.
Yes.
And something's going to happen. Like something bad.
Something bad is going to
sabotage.
She's going to be like a snarky flight attendant who doesn't want to see the next generation thrive.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, bride wars just like kind of get in the way of something. But
before Gwyneth decides that she wants to be a flight attendant because of that video, her first option, and she goes, I thought about becoming an alcoholic.
That's in her blood.
That's in her blood, she says.
That's the family.
But she's gonna go against type, and she's gonna become a stewardess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what I appreciated about this is that, you know, the movie is aware, unlike J-Lo, that you can't just go to the number one airline. You have to start small.
Mm-hmm. I appreciated the reality in the situation. She just went local.
She went to the local budget airline.
Yes.
And even the manager's like, hey, we only do 45-minute flights.
Yeah, these little local trips. It felt very attainable. It felt very real. Yeah. She kind of waltzes right into the position, which, yeah, I think that's what would happen. There's no training.
No training. She's just reading the book as she is on the job. And her coworker is an incredibly charming Kelly Preston.
She did great.
She did
Loved her in this.
Wonderful. I
so
enjoyed
endearing.
her presence. And again, so we've met Candy Bergen through the screen. She's not threatening. Kelly Preston is not threatening. She's so supportive. Mm-hmm. So there's no conflict yet because
and we're 20 minutes in.
We're 20 minutes in. Everybody is just desperately trying to help Gwyneth be a great flight attendant, including the co-pilot, because the main pilot is asleep, but the co-pilot
Rob Lowe, sexy. Him too. I hope you do great, babe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's you're right, like
exactly.
there is no conflict. So then you're like, okay, surely the conflict is going to be that she sucks at this.
Yeah.
And we only get one scene of that too. She's
We
pretty
get
good
one
after that.
She's pretty good. So in her maiden voyage,
Yeah.
she reveals to Kelly Preston that she's never been on a plane before. So she's confused by what's happening.
I thought this was really
Understandably
funny.
so. I thought this was pretty good because, you don't think of Gwyneth for physical comedy, but I thought that
She nails it.
This is pretty funny, actually.
She nails it. At one point, like she hears something, and Kelly Preston's like, "Don't worry, it's just the wheels." And Gwyneth goes, "We lost the wheels,"
That was.
and then she starts screaming.
And
On
it
the
was,
plane.
I mean, I was like, okay, this is pre-Bridesmaids, her running through the cabin screaming.
Yeah, there's a
It was
colonial
very
woman on the
funny.
wing churning butter. There's something
It
they're not
was
telling
very,
us.
very funny to me.
And yeah, so she kind of makes a fool of herself. They land. I'm
Yeah.
assuming like 45 minutes later, local. She didn't really derail the flight, I don't think.
No. I mean, as he says, the only people that take the airline are gamblers and drunks.
Yeah,
So
so we're fine.
They don't seem very annoyed at her presence. And she doesn't get any reprimand. She doesn't get any talking to. They're just like, listen, you'll get it.
Yeah, they're so nice to her.
Or you won't, but you probably will.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I go super like rule book Chanel, like elementary school.
Yeah.
You can't scream on a plane. That's like inciting a riot. Like you can't. It's like screaming fire in a crowded
So
room.
that's probably why they have the walls covered in carpeting.
In shag
and
carpet, it didn't break through.
It muffles the voice.
It didn't get to the cockpit. That's why Rob Lowe was so nice when he came
Yeah,
out.
he
He said, "Are
didn't
you
hear
good? You good, girl?"
You didn't hear her scream.
I think that would have been a
and-
really funny take if he's like, "What happened?"
Yeah, I didn't hear a thing.
But yeah, they don't do anything with Rob Lowe after that. I really thought love interest or something, but
Yeah, I mean, because the way he's looking at her and the way that she's looking at him, there's a connection at
Mhm.
first. Or, I mean, what else would you think? That they're like,
no, I know. And I'm
But
like,
it's-
was Rob Lowe not Rob Lowe yet? I'm like, because my shorthand when I see the two name talent on screen, I'm like, okay, they're gonna kiss at some point. I feel like moving on after that scene, there's more montagey stuff. She's doing local route, right?
she
To and
gets
fro.
better. We get better, and we find out that she becomes basically a student teacher because she gets a trainee.
Oh, I did like that. It was very quick. They even gave me a trainee, Christy,
Christy.
in that VO that we get. Very
Yeah.
sparingly, but it's fun.
But yes, she's very good at being a stewardess.
Christy, oh yeah.
No, Gwyneth.
Oh,
That's how quickly she gets a trainee.
yes.
Christy's a
Forgive me.
dirty thief,
Forgive me. Oh, they call her klepto.
a klepto. If you see that klepto,
Oh my god, they're like so rude to Christina Applegate. It's so funny.
Gwyneth is kind of a narc though in the movie.
She is an arc, but
She's
I
like, you
related
took
to
those
her.
soaps.
You stupid. And she's like, yeah, they were for the guests.
I honestly saw both perspectives on that.
I was like, you can take one. Take a soap.
Take one. You didn't need to take all the airplane soaps. That was weird.
I know. Wait, we're totally skipping ahead. But then at the very
Okay.
end, Candy Bergen goes, and someone did steal my soaps that one time.
It was so funny that they take a moral high ground about that.
The nail in the coffin for Christina Applegate's character was someone took my soaps once.
Well, that's literally how they cracked the case.
That's
They're-
literally it. In the way she
Okay.
dots her eyes. But okay, this is still the pre-flight school
Yeah.
area of the movie, and I'm still having so much fun. They're summering in, what is it, Palm Springs?
Oh
Or-
no, they're in Lake Havasu.
Oh, Lake Havasu. Worse.
which is worse. It's
Drier.
it's where Vicky Gunvalson once had a home. So it's very
Humble.
they're basically saying that these people are trash. That's what they're trying to
That's
communicate.
actually what this movie's saying. With wardrobe, everything.
With everything they're trying to say these people are trash.
Yes.
And it's I mean, we're not saying that. That's they're showing us and telling us that they're trash.
Yeah, don't blame us. Like, we are the interpreters of what we've been given.
Because we see that they vacation on a houseboat, which looked kind of chic.
Yeah, it was
and they
cute.
were
It's
sitting
big.
and they were sitting there, and there's like the local, they're bonding, but it becomes very clear that Christina Applegate she's a real eager beaver. She's asking a lot of questions. She's trying to ingratiate herself with Gwyneth and Kelly Preston. And, we wonder where this is going to go.
Yeah, I'm kind of slowly starting to see, like, how's this shaping up? We are over, like, 20 minutes at this point. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? We do get introduced to Mark Ruffalo, a young Mark Ruffalo. He kind of rolls up in his boat. Gwyneth's bathing suit strap breaks. Funny. Hilarious.
So funny.
So funny.
The girls are like, go inside. I'm sure there's a tie.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find a close bobby pin. What is it? Safety pin.
Yeah. It was such a weird transition, the way they were delivering the lines. They're like, go ahead, girl. Go look for it.
Yeah, right inside. Also, in that moment, I like went into the recesses of my memories. I've never easily found a safety pin anywhere. Like, nowhere.
Right.
It's not easy to find.
No, I mean, on a houseboat, where space is truly at a premium, I don't think those are what I would be stalking.
No
but she goes
pins.
looking for it anyway.
Yeah, and then we get a funny meet cute. Mark Ruffalo kind of goes to surprise who he thinks is his buddy.
Yeah,
and
he's gonna use a fake water gun to pretend like he's gonna shoot him.
I kept waiting for the real gun to come out in this movie. I gotta say, it's 2003.
Yeah, because he's an officer of the water. He's a lake officer, so he is.
I was waiting for the explosive
official.
Device, gun, bomb, anything, grenade.
No, remember, Chanel, we're trying to get people back on planes.
Oh, I know. So this was a real con job.
Yeah. So he surprises her, and he's like, and then she is like, it's okay, I forgive you. I'm looking for a clasp so I can put my bathing suit top back on. And he's like, I got you.
He's like, hold up, I have white bread on this boat.
So he gets the little wire tie for bread. And they use that, and it lasts her
it was a great
the whole day.
I thought it was a really good idea. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I did. I thought it was a good idea. And look, we had it's the age-old question: how many women does it take to find a replacement bathing suit holder? And it took him one man.
One man, which makes sense.
Which makes sense. So he puts the bathing suit back on her, and she's like, "Okay, I'm good to go." And now I'm gonna get into a boat with you because you helped me put my top back on.
Yeah.
And
a little day trip.
A little day trip, but unfortunately, Christina Applegate,
Christy's there. Bitch.
Invites herself. She invites herself.
Yeah. We don't like Christy.
No, this is when we start to realize that that she might be a little nefarious because she is standing in between the two of them. She's being very flirtatious. She's having him rub sunscreen on her back. And she tries to show how cool of a girl she is because she reminds him that she didn't graduate high school.
Oh my God. He's like, yeah, I almost was a lawyer. I left one semester left. She goes, me too, but high school.
And Gwyneth goes, why did you drop out? And she starts to answer.
Oh, yeah. She starts to answer when she was really talking to Mark Ruffalo.
Yep.
God damn it, Christy. Yeah, so this is still that pre-time, and you're still just kind of like, where's this going?
Where is it going? Because we had just left a scene where Gwyneth, you think, is going to be having a relationship with Rob Lowe. Now she's flirting with Mark Ruffalo. And it's just very unclear what the problem is here. Like in terms of, but we see in the next scene that the three of them, Gwyneth, Christina Applegate, Kelly Preston, are sitting at the local diner on the airstrip, and these three beautiful, elegant flight attendants come in.
Yeah, flight attendants, and their outfits are professional, designer, chic. They're all like, "Get me my Louis Vuitton. I got this new Chanel coming in tomorrow." Clearly, they have money, which begs the question: how much does a flight attendant get paid?
I don't know, because there's this one YouTube channel that I love to watch, this woman who's a flight attendant and she vlogs everything. I do love that, but I don't think it's enough to be affording that kind of luxurious lifestyle.
I didn't think so. And then I was like, should I be a flight attendant? Was my next question.
I want to be a flight attendant now. It looks like a lot of fun. Also, there's training though.
I know.
There's a
I
lot
was
of
thinking
training.
that if it weren't for like the year I'd have to kill in training, I'd do it for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
But
So that hurts their feelings.
And these three flight attendants are like, I can't believe our flight had to, make an emergency stop
refuel
here.
here.
This
Ew.
nasty town.
Yeah.
And Gwyneth is like, listen, ladies, we need to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps. We need to advance. We need to advance in the flight attendant world. And the girls are like, there's no way. We're stuck with Breezy Airline or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Don't remember.
And then Gwyneth takes out a flyer for a hiring fair, which seemed like it must happen all the time.
Seemed legit.
It seemed legit in San Francisco, which I couldn't remember where they were anyway. So
didn't matter at all.
Didn't matter.
I'm pretty sure that the only thing we saw of San Francisco was the inside of that hotel or whatever it was.
Yeah, we didn't get San Francisco.
No,
so
but we
it
did
really
get
could have.
Paris. So they had the
We
money.
got a lot of Paris.
They had the money.
Yeah, we had the budget to go to Paris. I bet Gwyneth was like, I'm only doing this movie if we actually film in Paris, because it looked like they did.
It really did, unless it was a green screen or whatever. But it looked like they went to Paris and did 2 shoot days in Paris for sure.
Because there were multiple setups in Paris. Like
Yes.
she was sitting in different locales. But anyway, they decide to go to this hiring fair for
Is it royalty?
flight attendants.
Or just to be a flight attendant? The Royalty Air Flight School.
The way that they set it up, they made it seem like all the different airlines were hiring, but I really think it was royalty focused.
Royalty focused. So they go to the fair and immediately get interviews, right?
Yeah, they fill out their applications, and we learn this very important detail that Christina Applegate always dots her I's with a heart.
Very important detail.
Don't forget that.
Do not forget it. What was the movie we did last time? The J-Lo one?
Shotgun Wedding.
Shotgun Wedding. Okay, so if
comes
every
back.
fact in Shotgun Wedding came back around and no loose ends,
Yeah.
in this movie, this is the one. This
This
is
is
one
the
you
only
need to
thing
pay
that comes
attention
back.
to. Yeah. It's dots her eyes with hearts and stole soap.
And steal. She's a stealer.
And a stealer.
So they all go in for their interview with none other than, and they start building them up. They're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe we're gonna be interviewed by Mike Myers."
Mike Myers. That's exactly
The
what they
Mike
say.
Myers.
The Michael Myers. Not to be confused with.
He's like a
this
world-renowned flight attendant trainer.
Yes.
We find out
Very good at his job.
he can make and break your career in the sky.
And we get a really funny interview montage, which I thought
So
was super
funny.
good. They're taking pains to let you know Gwyneth is the best. There's no
Gwyneth is-
shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, they're very much setting up that Christina Applegate is a big dummy.
Yes.
Gwyneth is the best, and Kelly Preston really doesn't want it. That's what they're really trying to let us know.
Yeah, because they don't want you to be too let down in the next scene when she doesn't get it.
Right. Exactly. They really let her go quite easily, and you don't feel.
Gentle movie.
So we find out, and this is convenient. They find out in the interview if they're going to be accepted to the flight attendant school, because it's like
know.
American Idol. They walk out. Gwyneth gets a golden ticket.
There's like a list or something.
Gwyneth gets one. Christina Applegate seemingly gets one.
Yeah.
But Kelly Preston makes fun of Mike Myers' crossed eyes, and she doesn't get one.
She doesn't get one. And just worth noting, this is the most gold member of scenes. Like, it's Mike Myers, fully Mike Myersing. He's got one eye crossed.
I hope there wasn't a script.
I don't think there was. This was very mole. Do you remember mole? And it's like all you can look at.
Yeah, it was very
Same bit.
same bit.
And he's like,
but,
this eye, look at this one. And I just want to point out one more thing. Christina Applegate, she's talking about her resume and she goes, right above Hooters. And I really like that.
It was very funny. And we find, but like you were saying, we really just say goodbye to Kelly Preston in this scene, and she's just gone.
That's the function of this interview. It's like to weed out
To ditch her.
Yeah, to just ditch Kelly Preston, which I'm really upset about. I really do think all 3 of them could have just made it. It would
Yeah,
be
and
fine.
they because all we know so far is that even though Gwyneth is getting really good at being a flight attendant, Kelly Preston is still the best. Like, that's what they're telling us.
Yeah.
And even these 2 girls are like, "Oh my god, what? You're the best. You're the best
She's
flight
like,
attendant."
we could never. It was such awkward English. She was like, we couldn't even dream of ever being a flight attendant the way you are. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was a real word salad.
Like, you're the best of the 3 of us at flight attendant, and we're like, wait,
Ding.
was it English. It's good.
But
it's good.
But you're right though that as she walks away, you feel nothing because you're like, you know
You're
what?
like,
She
"Okay,
didn't. Okay, bye. She didn't want it, and that's okay. But this is serious. If you want to be on royalty air, like you have to want it, and you have to be very good at your job. So
I got so many, like, this felt Top Model. This felt Survivor, this next bit. This felt...
You know what this really felt like?
What?
It felt like the Disney College Program. It felt like they were moving them. Yeah, this felt like they were going on the DCP where they were like, they moved them into dorm housing and they have to go through a rigorous training schedule to work an hourly job.
Yes.
On a ride. As Gwyneth said, it's like a roller coaster.
Oh my God. It's like a roller coaster. I was dying. I was like, how do you make flight attendant school feel like boot camp? Because I'm like, what could the tests possibly consist of?
But this is what they do. Like if you get hired as like Delta or whatever, they ship you off to their training academy and you have to live there and you go to training like full time.
That's how I know this isn't for me.
It's not for me. It's too intense.
No, it's too intense. I would cry. It would literally be like
there's exams, you have to study.
No, that's a no. That's a no for me. They do try to make funnies happen in this montage. And it's like hit and miss. They're doing like simulations of like a bad passenger in first class. A disgruntled passenger.
Mike Myers is wearing a vest that says disgruntled passenger.
Disgruntled passenger or whatever. I don't remember if that was exactly it, but yeah, he's like, I want my warm nuts.
He's like, I've and Stacey Dash throws the nuts. He's like, I've seen warmer nuts on a polar bear. And then very funny joke. And then he kind of takes the steam out of the joke by later being like, I met a polar bear or something. And you're like, wait, what? We thought that was a good joke. It goes on for a beat too long.
He keeps the joke going.
It's weird because the director of the movie, I don't know who it is. It doesn't matter. But it was like they didn't know what to do with the funny scenes. Like the funny scene where Gwyneth loses control on her very first flight, like they awkwardly just end. It felt like there could have been more there, like her deep breathing into a bag. Like with the polar bear joke, it like doesn't know when to end. It's very... They don't know how to handle the comedy as well as you would think.
Well, I'm going to let you know that when a movie's 80 minutes long, we ran into a problem of not enough footage.
True.
So
if there was more, we would have seen it.
I really do think they're stretching what they have for every bit it's worth. And
True.
It's almost not considered a feature film at 80 minutes. The credit scene saves it. The credit scene makes it a feature-length film.
Yeah, they really had to pad it with that.
So they really did need us to let them know what they could have gotten. You know?
I did love though that all of this safety information is brand new to Gwyneth and Christina Applegate, even though they've already been flight attendants.
Yeah.
There was no training before.
New caliber. One funny bit, one of the girls goes, "You have to asses the window." Because assess.
Oh, yeah.
You put that emphasis on the wrong syllable. I was like, okay, good. Funny.
It's it's a women's only career as well as one gay man. And
this is probably the most overtly offensive section of the movie because they're just making them all seem like fucking idiots.
They're all dum-dums. And one night during training, though, Gwyneth gets a call in their dorm room hotel. And she's like, What? We're coming. She hangs up the phone. And Christina Applegate's like, what? She's like, we're going to Kenny Bergen's house.
Oh, yeah, we've been invited.
And Christina Applegate's like, who? And immediately we're like, oh my God, you don't get it. And Gwyneth's like, no, like, look at the Bible. She is the most famous flight attendant in the world.
Sally Weston, author of My Life in the Sky.
It's like, if you don't know who the most famous flight attendant in the world is, like, well, girl, what are you doing?
It's like if in any career path, you should know the most famous person in your field.
Yeah, she's the Tyra Banks of flight attendanting.
I did get some Top Model from this movie. This, like I'm saying, this movie felt like a warm hug. I felt right at home with the women are idiots jokes, the bimbos.
Yeah.
The only thing this movie was missing was fat jokes. There were none.
There were none. No one. Yeah, there were no body image references in the movie.
Yeah, and I could only guess it's because the three lead women are the thinnest, most beautiful women I've ever seen. But that wouldn't stop any other movie from taking a jab at somebody's jugs, you know?
You know that they considered a scene where like somebody who was bigger than these three sits down for the interview and Mike Myers goes, no.
Not for the outfit. No.
Like we were 1 second away from a scene like that. So
for it. It's very of the time.
But they go to Candice Bergen's house and it's
Great
so nice. It's like this beautiful mansion. Again, it's like, how is she affording this as a flight attendant?
She's the best.
But again, like you're still waiting for that moment where her claws come out and she does something dangerous.
Yeah, we were waiting for that shoe to drop the whole time. Miss Congeniality, status. I'm like, where's the package that's going to blow this whole thing up, literally and figuratively?
Yeah, but no, she's just there to give them like good advice and to say,
great mentor. That's it.
To say like, listen, ladies, what you really want is you want the most competitive routes. You want international, first class, Paris.
It's great. Yeah, she really delivers that information that we so desperately need, and that kind of makes Gwyneth go off on her French learning spree.
Yeah. But again, before they do that, they have to remind us that even though Gwyneth is a bright flight attendant, she's not that bright because Candice Bergen goes, you need seniority. And Gwyneth goes, should I start that now?
This movie's a little bit legally blonde
and it's like,
too, by the way.
Like, she's like, no. But before they leave Candy Bergen's house, Gwyneth goes to the bathroom. And that's where she sees the airplane soaps. She marvels at it, uses it.
I thought they were tacky, by the way. They were weird.
They looked like rubber ducks. Like they didn't look
like
elegant.
Their primary colors too. I'm like, no, this is a powder pink bathroom. Like, what are you doing?
And they did look like takeaway gifts. So I can understand the confusion. It looked like a party
favor at a children's birthday.
But before she leaves the bathroom, Candy Bergen corners her. And I'm like, oh, here it is.
Here's the meanness. Let's hear it.
Here she's going to be like, you will never be me.
Yes.
But no, she says, I want you to be like me.
Girl, I'm rooting for you, girl.
And I want to help you. And you're like, what?
I think, okay, new theory. We are so traumatized from the early 2000s that we're waiting for a woman to take another woman down. We're just waiting for it.
Yeah, it's like we don't have brain space for female friendship.
No.
We're like, this can't work.
This doesn't work in a movie. I'm like, what's going on? It's Twilight Zone.
Yeah. It's kind of like, what? Is this a movie? It's weird. So,
what are you doing?
And Candy Bergen even takes her to her closet and says, listen, if you're a good flight attendant, you can wear this nice
outfit,
non-synthetic flight attendant outfit.
Yeah. Did we talk about their original flight attendant outfits from their first airline to the new ones? Because the first airline was Gold Member. They have like 60s bouffants, hoop earrings,
plasticky fabric,
plastic shiny fabric, heels. It's bimbo chic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, were they going for like a 1970s like lost era in flying? Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think with the shag walls and like the rusty hardware, it was like these planes are from the 70s and so are the outfits.
Funny.
But Candy Bergen's outfit is very like Pan Am.
Yeah.
50s, 60s age of flying.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, she's not that old.
It's what was that, like postmodern, modernist. So vintage that it's almost modern again. What am I trying to say? You get it. It's like Mad Men. Like Mad Men brought.
It's Mad Men. It's a Mad Men look, but I mean, she's not that old. So it was. But anyway, it's
test taking time.
You're like, okay, we're halfway through the movie. Again, when is the shoe going to drop?
Yeah.
And at this point, I literally wrote, we're 50 minutes into the movie. Where is the problem? And you're right. I think
that they were. Oh, I'm right. Tell me how I'm right.
In that the next scene is the test scene.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to get confused too at this point because I'm like, are they saying that the relationship with her and Mark Ruffalo is the problem? Because she did have to leave him in order to go to flight training school. So I'm like, when you're like early on in the movie, you're trying to figure out, okay, where's the conflict? Where's the issue? I'm like, were they trying to say that her having to leave Mark Ruffalo was the central conflict? Or I do agree that the test taking is the central conflict, but it just comes late.
I think you're in the same way that you're like, okay, we really can't process the fact that Candice Bergen is just trying to be supportive.
Yeah.
I think that we also can't process the fact that we're supposed to feel like Gwyneth should be torn about leaving a guy she's known for 6 days. versus going to pursue her dream
Career.
job. I think we're really supposed to feel like, wow, she really left something behind. Like, I
Yeah.
wonder if it's worth it.
They didn't even kiss. They're like about to kiss for the first time, and he goes, "I don't want our only kiss to be a goodbye kiss." And I
Right.
Said, oh,
So
good
it's
line.
like-
and then we get knockoff time after time.
But we've already said
after
goodbye to
time.
Rob Lowe too. So I'm like, okay, we're really used to saying goodbye to guys, so
Yeah,
it's fine.
It was easy for me, really easy.
But I think you're right that the conflict is supposed to be that we're constantly thinking,
Tom,
yeah, like she should be with that guy. And I guess it becomes emphasized in the next scene where they sit down to take their final exam. It's so funny to me. The layout of the scene, they're sitting in this massive room, but they have all the chairs so close to each other. And Mike Myers is sitting at like a little teacher's desk as the proctor during the test.
yeah, it felt very high school.
And they take the test, they finish it. Stacey Dash goes to Gwyneth, "How'd you do?" And Gwyneth goes, "New York, first class, France, Paris, baby." Like she aced it, she thinks.
Yeah, and she does say exactly what in the next scene
Her mantra.
Christy ends up getting, though, the route.
Well, they pass their test forward, and then the next day I guess they've tabulated the scores. We find out later as Candace.
The list is up.
We find out later from Candace Bergen where Gwyneth is like, "How do they tabulate it?" And she's like, we do hand scoring.
Yeah,
So
idiot.
So they post the list because I guess what they're also saying now is that based on your score, it informs what route you get.
Which I agree with. The best.
I
score should
totally
get the best
agree.
route.
I totally agree. And Christina Applegate gets the best route, and Gwyneth is relinquished to the express domestic 45-minute flight route
Cleveland.
in Cleveland.
Home base, Cleveland. Harkening back to just a small
town
girl.
Flight attendant.
It's shocking. You're like, wait, what? Like this whole time Gwyneth was the best. Now
Right.
she's all of a sudden not the best? What's going
Now
on?
she's and I'm like, okay, this is it. Candy has
Sabotaged her.
sabotaged her. I'm like, that's it.
That's got to be it.
We figured it out.
I was like, she's evil. She plays evil in every movie. Can't
She's
wait.
always evil. Two women can't support each other. That's it.
Impossible. This is what's
Case
gonna happen.
closed. We also only have 20 minutes left, so it's like
It's like a real. I don't know.
it's like it could go either way, but I feel like it has to go that way because we can't meet anyone new.
Yeah.
So
And like 8 times she gets fed the line like, "Don't worry, you can retest again in a year." And that's what Candy Bergen says. Like she just maintains like, "Come back." Same with
Yeah.
Mike Myers. Come back in a year. Your score was
Yeah.
not very good. And
we
Gwen and the audience is like, "Huh? What?"
And even Mike Myers says to her, "Listen, it can happen to the best of us. It even happened to me. Like I did poorly, but look where I am." And so she goes to Cleveland, and we find out that she has to get an apartment. She has to live there because she's working there all the time. She's working with the one gay flight attendant, and whenever she delivers her in-flight messages, she always has a really sad affect to her, which is not the royal air standard that we've come to know and love.
Unacceptable.
And one day, as she's putzing around downtown Cleveland in the up-and-coming neighborhood, she stumbles upon Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, who has gone
Which
back to law school, I guess.
back to law school, and I'm like, okay,
In
this is
Cleveland.
another detail that comes back. Is he in the very beginning? He's like, yeah, I went to law school in Ohio.
Yeah.
So he's back because we
I
find
grew
out
up there. Got it.
yeah, because he grew up there, and he only had one semester left, and he's at the coffee shop, and he's like, yeah, I'm just here with my partner. And Gwyneth is like, she's really pretty.
She's really pretty.
And he's like, ew, gross. No, she's my law school partner.
And then we're like, thank God. Thank God.
Thank God.
Because now they can be together.
Now they can be together because her career tanked, and he is going to be a lawyer. So
She gave her her
everything's
big
going to
time
work
dream, so now it can work out.
out. Now it can work out. And it's really weird because the weather seems pretty moderate out, but we find out the next day is Christmas, and he's like, "You want to come to my Christmas celebration?" And it's really weird.
This is where I was blaming myself. I was like, oh, Chanel, you got to pay attention a little bit better, sweetie. Like, we couldn't have possibly been creeping up on Christmas, but I love to hear that you were just as confused.
Looked like summer.
Yeah,
so
that's what I thought. She does go. She goes to the family Christmas. It's beautiful.
She goes, and they get his ailing grandmother a gift.
Yeah.
That's how close she is to the family.
A universal remote.
A universal remote.
I remember those. Those were great.
But she's like fitting in with the family and
gets a sweater. It's so cute.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what, Gwyneth, you should be happy with your express route.
Can I just say more Christmas in this movie than 4 Christmases?
More Christmas than 4 Christmases. You're right.
100%.
Exactly. So everything is going well in Cleveland, we think. And then Gwyneth, well, now I'm trying to figure out what happens next.
Yeah, what tips her off? Because she does think to start questioning the exam.
So one day she goes to the desk. Oh, right. She goes to the desk and we see that Ever the Achiever, she's always asking if she can get like new routes, if she can get new routes. And
routes and roots.
Routes and roots. And Christina Applegate breezes on through the office and she sees that Gwyneth is Employee of the Month. And that kind of like gets her agitated. And they bump into each other. And how does Gwyneth end up going to New York?
I don't remember. Does Christina Applegate's character just say, come with me to spend the holiday in New York? Because she does go to New York.
Somehow Gwyneth goes to New York, and we know that Christina Applegate lives in New York. She has a really cute apartment on West 73rd, we learned. And
cute.
When she's there, she gets a call to go to a party in Brooklyn. This part I'm now really fuzzy on.
So this party invite, they introduced a new character.
Right. Totally new.
The hostess of the party. Where I'm
totally
like,
new.
Are we supposed to know who this is? She was very nice. Very friendly.
Nice. But Gwyneth also gets a personal call at the party.
She picks up the woman's house phone.
And it's for her.
Yeah, so bizarre. I guess this is someone they graduated with at the academy.
At the flight attendant school for
and this woman in New York has like a family, kids. It's Christmas Eve or whatever, or New Year's, I don't remember. And Gwyneth picks up her personal house phone and they're like, hey, babe hosting the party, we need you to do a route. And Gwen's like, don't worry, I'll take it. This woman should enjoy her home with her family. And the woman shows up and she's like, hey, who was that? And Gwyneth doesn't tell her. I'm like, have you ever done that at someone's house?
I've never taken someone's personal call for myself.
It was good. It was really good.
Oh, wait. I think we're getting a little bit out of order here because now I'm remembering what happened.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I was not paying attention.
Okay, because that's when Gwyneth is living in New York. Because here's what happens. I'm going to tell you what happens.
Can you tell me what happens, please?
They run into each other at the Cleveland airport. Gwyneth and Christina Applegate.
Aha.
Okay?
Yes.
Gwyneth still thinks there's nothing wrong here, like nothing bad happened. So she invites Christina Applegate to her apartment with Mark Ruffalo. And then she's like, how is your route? How's everything going? And that's when Christina Applegate tells her the story of the day where some guy brought a bag that was too big. And she was like, oh, just put it on the seat next to you. And Gwyneth was like, no, you have to charge them 25% for a second seat for
Christina
a bigger bag.
Christina Applegate goes like, I just thought to myself, what would Donna do in this situation? And then she says the completely wrong thing. And Gwyneth is like, no. You would never kick them off the plane. You would do this. You would charge them half the price of the seat next to them if it was free. Yeah. And then Gwyneth, we get that close up. Gwyneth's wheels are like definitely turning. And she's
because she goes, that was the last question on our exam.
Yeah.
So that triggers her to be like, okay, something is up.
I knew we were missing a piece.
We'll get there.
I knew we were missing something.
That's when she calls Candy Bergen, and that's when she's like, listen, I think something happened with the scoring. I'd like to get to the bottom of this. And Candy Bergen's like, there are no mistakes with the scores.
We do it by hand.
We do it by hand, which seems like where more mistakes could happen.
Yes.
So Gwyneth is like, listen, I'll feel more comfortable if you can just scan me or fax me my scored exam. Yeah. And Candy Bergen's like, listen, I'll pull a string, no problem. But like, listen, you're still going to hate yourself because you did really
Because
badly.
you did terribly on this test.
And because first they get the score, and Candy Bergen's like, oh, I'm surprised you even got a job with your score. Like, you should just be happy you're even working.
Domestic Cleveland, this makes sense.
But then they get it. They get the facts come through, and Gwyneth knows something is wrong because the handwriting on the exam has hearts
over the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I got distracted. Did you hear my watch go off?
Yeah.
I just want to tell the folks at home.
No, I couldn't. So
Siri
then she knows. So Gwyneth knows that
she's
Christina Applegate is a problem. And then she's like, listen, Candy Bergen, I need you to help nail her. And here's why. Is because number one, she did this, but you would have no idea that she did that because you don't even know what her handwriting looks like. But I can also tell you that when she came over my apartment, she dumped out her bag and she had stolen all the little bottles of alcohol. And that's when Candy Bergen goes, oh, funny you say that because someone came to my home a year ago and stole all my airplane soaps.
Yeah, that one time. Remember those soaps I had?
So
Stolen.
that's what lights a fire under Candy Bergen's butt. And she's like, listen, here's what I can offer. I can have a concealed detective watch her on the plane. And if she steals anything, we'll nab her.
And I mean, she does.
She's like, so she calls in a klepto watcher.
Yes.
And she's like, watch her. And unfortunately for Christina Applegate, within 5 minutes of being on the plane, she dumps a whole tray of alcohol into her bag.
So
It was really funny, actually.
I felt uncomfortable calling her little klepto. It feels so mean. But
that's what they refer to her as.
I'm like, I feel like we're 10 years away from klepto being like a slur.
Yeah, it's like, that's her personality, as they're telling us. It's like she steals.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's tough when that's the only character attribute you have. But she does steal, and the internal investigator catches her, turns her in, and in a turn of events, immediately Gwyneth is upgraded to her route.
Immediately. She's in Paris in a blink.
Yeah. So Gwyneth is walking through the airport. She looks so chic in her new outfit. She's first class, touching the fabric, and she's loving it. We get a beautiful montage of her going back and forth to Paris, but we start to see that it gets a little bit old because
she's sad.
She's sad. She's alone. And those first class customers, they're not always the nicest, and they're very demanding.
Yeah. And she's just reminded time and time again that she's lonely, and somehow we've blinked and it's almost Christmas again.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm alone on Christmas Eve. This is terrible.
Right. And then this is when she's living in New York, to catch us back up to speed. This is when she goes to Brooklyn, and the phone call she gets at her flight attendant's friend was a shift for her friend, but she ends up taking it because she has no friends or family.
Yeah. And this is us really speedballing towards that 80-minute mark, where it's just like she's still alone and she's unfulfilled in her new life. The dream life that she wanted is not all it was cracked up to be. We even do get a moment, I hope I'm not too far ahead, where she tells Candice Bergen's character, like, you said don't let anything get in the way of your dreams.
Yeah.
And Candice is like, I didn't mean dump the only person you love.
Yeah.
So many words.
It's tough that you're saying, like, let's not get ahead, because all this happens within 5 minutes. So it's like, it's very hard.
90-second span of this movie.
And what we're also missing, which is funny, is that the first time Gwyneth chairs one of these first class flights, miraculously, Christina Applegate gets through security and meets her on the plane, and
they
is
duke it out,
ready to physically assault her. And the line that did make me laugh is like, these two women are about to fight because Christina Applegate's like, isn't it convenient that the day I get fired, you get promoted? Like, it's very clear you had something to do with it. And Gwyneth is like, listen, she takes her job so seriously. She's like, you need to get off the plane. And to which Christina Applegate goes, what are you going to do? Throw one of your big books at me? which I love that line.
Early 2000s when like being smart was an insult.
Yeah, it's like, what are you gonna do? Throw a book at me?
Throw a book at me, and then
I found it very, very rough. Their fight. It was pretty physical.
It was so physical. Does Gwyneth tackle her into a bagel? What is that piece? Is it a bread? Is it bread?
No. Okay. What happens is they're fighting. Like they're like actually throwing their bodies into things.
This is where I'm comfortable, by the way. I want to see the women fist fight.
Christina Applegate throws her to the ground, and then as soon as she grabs her hair, because she's going to keep banging her head into the ground, Gwyneth grabs a New York bagel, because they're in New York, and puts it in front of her head so that when she slams her head down, it cushions it.
Cushions the blow. Also, it's a massive bagel. It's very
massive
big.
Bagel. It's like a cake.
It's like a Homer Simpson donut bagel. It's
yeah,
big.
Exactly. But
you know the ride at Universal? That size donut.
Oh yeah, makes me sick. But
love that ride.
A lot of special effects.
You know, it's my mom's
favorite. Kind of fun though.
It's my mom's favorite ride.
Really?
Yeah, she loves it.
I love the Mummy. That's my favorite ride at Universal.
Oh, the Mummy's fun. It's
so
hot.
Fun.
It's hot in there.
Yeah, they do turn the flames on.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they do that, but
if you know, let us know.
If you know how they turn the flames on.
How do you turn the flames on and off? I think it's gas. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Interesting. But so that's how we dispose of Christina Applegate.
Yeah.
The security comes and removes her.
Yeah.
But you're right in the sense that basically our last scene is that as she's getting ready to go to Paris for the Christmas Eve flight is when she sees Candy Bergen in the airport. And Candy Bergen is not traveling for business. She's traveling for pleasure. Mm-hmm. And that's when she tells her, like, listen, I know you want to be a really good flight attendant, but you're a woman and you need to get married. Mm-hmm. So what I would suggest is you actually take a day.
Take a day
and also like take a downgrade. So like reject your promotion and just go local again.
Mm-hmm. Take the pay cut, take everything downgrade for this man.
Mm-hmm. And Gwyneth's like, you know what? You're right.
You're onto something here, girl.
You're onto something. But Gwyneth is like, listen, I take my job really seriously. Like someone needs to work this flight. Someone needs to work this flight to Paris.
To Paris, yeah. Who's going to do it? Because I have to go to Cleveland right now.
I have to go to Cleveland.
Wait, they do this hilarious like in the know thing too, which reminds me of like New Yorkers' knowledge of transit. And they're like, if you take, it's very insular flight attendant knowledge. They're like, if you take the 9 p.m. flight from New York to Cleveland, then blah, 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 then you will be there in exactly, and they go 12 hours.
12 hours.
In unison.
And I'm like, I have no idea what time it is right now, so I don't know, but I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
So she's like, who's going to take my shift? I don't know.
Candy Bergen does. And again, I'm like, okay, so there's 90 seconds left. We can confirm she's a good person. Like,
so Candice Bergen is never going to turn evil in this. She's always going to be like
she never does. Shock
does.
Of the century.
She goes like, honey, this isn't what she says, but this is what it feels like. She goes, honey, I got it, girl. You go. And she goes like, I know what I'm doing. And it's like, it's almost as if she comes out of retirement to take this shit.
It's exactly right. She comes out of retirement and
it's so good.
So Gwyneth goes off to Cleveland and she goes to Mark Ruffalo's house.
Yeah, or Grandma's house.
Grandma's house.
This was weird. This was so weird.
So she's gone to the house with this guy that she's dated for, I don't know, 7 days and a year ago. And
right before Christmas though.
Grandma has her back to Gwyneth and she's decorating the tree and Gwyneth
lets herself in, leaves the door open.
Lets herself in, leaves the door open and just starts talking at Grandma. Yeah. And the way that the scene is edited, you think, wow.
Grandma's a bitch.
Grandma is ignoring her because she's really rejected her grandson. Yeah. But no, Grandma just can't hear.
She just couldn't hear her. That's it. It really, really, really like bothered me in a way that it shouldn't have, which made me think it was this is definitely childhood trauma because I'm like, I don't like being ignored. I was like, turn the fuck around.
And like
I was so mad.
But the real cute line is Mark Ruffalo comes down and he goes, she couldn't hear you. But I did.
Yeah, so we get that star vehicle, which this movie fits very perfectly into our formula. We get that 10th hour speech of I realized I was all wrong.
Whisper acting.
It's me all meaningless if I don't have someone to share it with.
I don't want a career.
Yeah, I don't want a career.
I want to get married.
I want money. I want him to make the money.
I want to be successful.
I was wrong, basically. And she just like kind of professes her love and she's like, and I love him. I think his name's Tom. Todd. I don't remember.
Doesn't matter. Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. She's like, I love him. And Grandma turns around and I'm like, bitch, were you listening? Nope. And then Mark Ruffalo comes down the stairs. I was.
And it's really cute because, again, we have like 30 seconds left and they immediately reconcile and we know that they're going to be together forever.
Yeah. I think they have staying power.
I think they do have staying power. Like, I could legitimately see these two. And in a crazy twist of events, we think that Gwyneth is going back to Cleveland to work her old route as a flight attendant. But they cut to the plane in the last scene and we see 2 flight attendants, not Gwyneth. And we cut to the cockpit.
Yeah, she's in the cockpit.
She's a pilot now.
Do you know I didn't get that at all? I was like, you're in the wrong clothes.
I had Like, I had to look it up at the end. I was like, does Gwyneth become a pilot?
Didn't get it.
And my sources are saying yes. We're to believe that Gwyneth became a pilot at the end of the movie.
Yeah, because this whole movie, like, I actually made a joke that there's been some sparing VO from Gwyneth. She's like in voiceover, and I'm like, is she writing a book? Like, what is this? Is this her novel? Is this her memoir? I mean, and yeah, you're right.
It's her view from the top.
Yeah, it's her view from the top. So we go into the cockpit. She's in the wrong uniform. She's in a pilot's uniform, and she stares down the barrel of the lens.
Wrong Halloween costume.
Wrong Halloween costume, Gwenny girl. It's not even sexy.
What does she say at the end? Do you remember?
It was like the closing lines of like a flight. She's like, "And welcome to New York," or something so stupid like that.
But it's so, and I'm like, this is probably a reflection of us, where it's like,
no, she's not.
She's sitting in the cockpit. She's wearing a pilot's uniform,
holding the steering wheel,
and we're literally like, "You're not the pilot.
You're not the pilot."
I'm like, there's no way. And I'm like, okay, on the one hand, yes, I understand where the gender is coming from. But on the other hand, I'm like, they're not this. It's like, they're not
different
a trajectory.
Skills.
You don't start as a flight attendant and end as a pilot.
No, we missed like 8 years of school.
Yeah. So Gwyneth
I don't think we're
off
for like assuming that wasn't what happened.
But I do like the ending a little bit because it does suggest that she's not taking like a huge career decline to be with him.
Oh, no. Massive upgrade.
Massive upgrade. But I'm just curious, like it wasn't her goal to be a pilot. She just wanted to be a stewardess, and there's nothing wrong with that. She just wanted to be the best stewardess there ever was.
She just wanted to get us. Might I remind us to minute 1 of the movie? Yeah. I want to get as far away from Silver Springs as possible.
Yeah.
So she did it.
Yeah, but she just left one small town
for another.
I mean, I guess Cleveland isn't a small town, but it's not New York is what they're saying.
Do you know what this movie made me want to do? Downgrade to Cleveland.
Yeah. I bet it's more affordable.
I'm dying out here. I would love I want a beautiful apartment somewhere. I might move to Ohio.
And I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at the end, do they replay just a small town girl at the end or no? Or am I just hearing that in my head?
I can't be certain, but I think they do. They do.
Either way, you're hearing it. You're hearing, you know what? She is just a small town girl.
You're not crazy. You're hearing it.
But she's not living in a lonely world. She's living in Mark Ruffalo's world.
Just a small town girl. That's the cover. The cover. Cut.
Yeah.
After that.
It's weird. It's like sharp. It's not the right.
It's a little bit off.
It's not the right
It's
notes.
a cover I deeply remember from the 2000s.
And
Glee brought back the Journey version. I just want to say.
True. Yeah. That's the cover you think of, not this. This is something strange. But and that's how the movie ends. And you're like, wow, it's only been 80 minutes. And now we're treated to 7 minutes of bloopers and song and dance. Which I really liked.
And what was the song that they were parodying?
Well, they sing We Are Family. However, in the spirit of covers, it's We Are Royalty. Because Royalty Air. They sing Safety Protocols, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch.
It's a lot of fun. It makes sense that it makes up the last 7 minutes of the runtime. I'm down.
Similar to The Sweetest Thing, which also stars Christina Applegate. Like when you see the bloopers, I really like. This is kind of like the dream role.
They had fun.
They had a lot of fun. Like I feel like they had fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
Do you know? Fun fact about me: blooper reels are why I wanted to get into acting. All of our early 2000s
Fun fact.
movies had those blooper
Yeah.
reels. And it looked so fun. It always looked
It
fun.
really lets you take a breath at the end. It allows you to be like, you know what? That wasn't Christina Applegate. That was Christy. They're two different people.
Different. That's not Gwyneth Paltrow. That's Donna.
No. Was that her name?
It's back to your point that they're like, these people are trash.
Yeah.
No shade to the name Donna. They're literally telling you this is her.
No, like they're
trailer
beating
park
us.
name.
They're beating you over the head with the idea that they're trash.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to tell us.
The outfits, the hair, the makeup, everything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can wait. Vulnerable admission alert.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she was the pilot until right now.
Well, it's
I
funny.
remember the outfit, and I remember thinking, what's she doing up there?
Well, because it doesn't make any sense, and I literally, I'm not lying. Like I had to Google, is Gwyneth Paltrow a pilot at the end of View from the Top?
I thought it was like a joke. Like, look at me.
Because it
role-playing
should
up
be
here.
a joke. You can't just go from flight attendant to pilot. It doesn't work that way.
I'm so embarrassed. It's like, yeah, these deeply, deeply ingrained gender roles where I'm like, no. But in my defense and your defense, and I think we've said it enough,
Yeah.
the movie is like it's like such a sharp turn, you're confused.
I mean, the movie is girls are flight attendants, boys are pilots.
That's the movie. Rob
That's
Lowe,
the movie.
pilot.
But I also, what I thought the movie did do a good job of was that, like, it's okay to be a flight attendant and be a girl,
Yeah.
and do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
So on the other hand, by upgrading quote unquote her to a pilot, it's also suggesting that like it's better than the flight attendant, right?
Yes.
Like it's an upgrade. So
Yeah.
it sort of foils itself at the end.
You're right. It like it folds over on itself, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. It's that scene in Inception where I'm like, okay, can we just spin the dreidel so we know where we are? Because it's like, or whatever it is. It's like I don't know where we are right now. What did they spin? Oh, a top. Yeah.
The totem, the token.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
okay.
You're right. It's kind of like a dreidel, honestly.
Yeah, it's like, where are we? What are we? Is this
There's
real?
like an SNL sketch from 2009. No, I'm writing it. It doesn't exist. There's an SNL sketch from 2009 where they're like, the Jewish character in Inception has a dreidel. It's a token.
Oh, really?
No, I made it up. I'm telling you that I'm pitching
okay.
it.
That's okay. Really cool.
It's my pitch.
So, okay, cool. Next, we'll use it next week.
Moving on.
So that's the movie, and overall, honestly, I loved it. I thought it was so cute. I think Gwyneth is a movie star, and I think she just has an it factor to her that I find enjoyable. I do. I can't deny it. I can't deny it.
Yeah. I did want to, it's like the 10th hour of this pod. Basically, they were painting her to be kind of naive and like bimbo-y. And I'm just like, I think she's just smarter than this part.
For sure.
But
I mean,
yeah.
Like you compare it to a movie like Emma, where she is so beautiful in that too, but also so smart. It's like Gwyneth, as we talk about on this podcast all the time, it's like the shorthand for people, like the shorthand for Gwyneth is not, we said this, I think, before we started recording. Shorthand for Gwyneth is not bimbo, it's aloof.
Aloof.
And there's a big difference.
And I heavily agree with that. That's spot on.
And that's why I think that the bimbo dumb line doesn't work in the movie. And it's almost like they gave up on it as the movie went on, because it was like, oh, this isn't working.
And she's doing her best bimbo. Like she's like what? And like combing her hair, and
she's more eager.
Naive.
She's better. Yeah, naive, eager, but also like really open-minded. Like,
yeah, she's making it work. Like she really is doing the Reese Witherspoon Legally Blonde treatment on this. Like she's like, this is how this part lives in me. And for that, I gotta say, girl's a pro. She nails it.
Yeah,
she's a professional. This movie felt so comforting. This is
she
exactly what I love.
She could have half-assed this and still gotten the paycheck.
Been fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that she did the best that she could with the material. I would say that.
Yeah, I stand by that 100%. Yeah, comforting movie for me. I just love taking a trip back to 2003. If you want to feel like you want to get in a time machine, watch this movie.
Yeah.
It really is so 2002,
if you love
2003.
time travel, you'll love it.
If you love time travel and you want to be transported back to a time where women were second-class citizens.
Yeah. But they could also be pilots.
But they could also be pilots at the end. Watch this movie. I had a great time. I put it on the background. I was able to scroll, text, whatever, and I got it.
Yeah.
With only a little bit of confusion at the end.
Yeah, but that's understandable. And you'll have the same confusion too if you watch it. You'll think, wait a second.
Trust us. Yeah.
I've heard that she's a pilot, and I see that she's wearing the pilot uniform.
She's in the
sitting
seat.
in the cockpit. But there's still a possibility she's still just a flight attendant.
Exactly.
You'll have it. You'll have that. You'll have that thought.
It's so spot on because it's exactly what I thought.
And she's even wearing like the aviator glasses. It's like they couldn't give you more signposts that she's a pilot.
The pilot.
And you're still like you could literally watch her fly the plane and you'd be like, I don't know about that.
I was like, girl, get back in the main cabin, silly.
Yeah. Get those warm nuts out. But this was a real treat. I'm glad we went back to the 2002, 2003 era.
I would love to spend more time. Yeah,
and I think we've realized that while we love our new releases, this is really where we do our best work.
Agree. This is my sweet spot. I thoroughly enjoyed this era.
You know what? I would make, like that movie, The Village, which I love. I would make a Village, but it's 2002.
Okay.
And we just watch movies like this.
Village. Wait, I'm not
Remember
understanding.
in The Village where you've never seen The Village?
No, I've seen The Village. I'm not understanding what you mean.
We just live like it's 2002. You know how they lived like it
back
was the
in time.
1780s? Yeah.
Got it. Took a second. I like to say that I was the audience there. I was just making you clarify.
You're the Bryce Dallas Howard. You're like, what?
I'm like,
I saw The Real World, but I still don't believe it. So it's like, that's you.
We should do The Village.
I love The Village.
I really like that movie
so
too.
Good.
It's world famous in my family for my cousin recommending it, and my family hated it. So they'll never let them live it down. They're always like, is this another Village suggestion?
Yeah.
Every family has one.
Everyone's so smart these days. They understand all the, they see things coming.
Yeah. Assholes.
Anyway, congratulations, Gwyneth, on your Academy Award, and on your legal victory. And your performance in View from the Top.
Yeah. Can't say we're going to do more Gwen. I didn't see many Star Vehicle.
Not in the near future. But
I'm happy we hit her. I'm happy we got it.
I wanted to touch down airplane reference. Given the legal landscape, and it just felt appropriate.
It was very appropriate, and she's very much a part of this time. Star Vehicle, she's one of the ladies, for sure.
Yeah, she's a peer of all the women that we've talked about.
That we've covered. So it's only right that we touch Gwenny. I'd love to do
and one of the few Oscar winners.
Honestly. Does Julia Roberts have an Oscar? She does.
Yes.
It's Julia. Well, now Jamie Lee Curtis.
Now Jamie Lee.
We're working on, we already decided we're working on J-Lo.
Let's see. Jamie Lee, Kate Winslet.
Oh, we did do Kate. We did that movie for Cameron, though, let's be honest.
Yeah, Jessica Chastain.
Oh my God. Okay, so we are doing a great job.
Penelope Cruz.
Oh, yes. Vicky Cristina. Right? Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
Reese Witherspoon.
Oh my God. Okay, wow. Star Vehicle podcast, we've...
Just think. Renee Zellweger.
Oh my God. We're covering more Oscar winners than not.
Vanessa
Ann Hutchins. We did do that.
Nicole Kidman.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure
Sandra Bullock.
I'm sure Brooke Shields was even nominated.
She's never nominated.
Okay. Now. Poor Brookie. She deserves it.
Jane Fonda.
Oh my God.
Okay,
wow.
So my initial statement was she was the first Oscar winner we've done.
Wrong.
I now retract.
I'm glad we had a real-time fact check there. Wow.
We've done more Oscar winners than not. So
we're such idiots. We're like, yeah, Gwen's the first Oscar winner we've covered. She's like the 8th.
Yeah, she's like, everyone we do is an Oscar winner. So
oh my God. All right.
That's good. Love that. Happy last day of Women's History Month.
Thank you. I'm really going to miss it.
We're recording this on March 31st. So
I do love March.
Just in the nick of time.
Yeah, I love March. I love Women's History Month, and I love Aries season. So y'all have a great Aries season. Rest of Aries season.
Okay, bye, Chanel.
Bye, Steven.